Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to another edition of Chautauqua Sunrise. We've got this all figured out now, Justin. I want to say good afternoon to my friends in Germany. Good afternoon to all my friends in Kiev, Ukraine. We're going to get to you in a second. And for those in Australia, good morning Sunday. I had to make myself a little chart here. But for those of you with me right now, good morning. It's 9 something or other, and we got a very special show in store for you. I have the Chautauqua County Executive, and we've been anticipating this for some time because we've moved the date around a few times because he's a busy, busy guy. So I hope you enjoy what we talk about today, as I've been looking forward to it for some time. I want to say good afternoon to my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown. And my show is now over. Thank you very much. These guys, they do this. We have gremlins inside of our system here. I never know when the show's going to be over. We're back. A radio show. Those on. We've only done this a couple shows, haven't we? WRFA, Low Power to the People in Jamestown, 107.9. You can listen to this rebroadcast Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. And so we're happy to spread the good stuff that we do here every week into Jamestown as well. So you can check it out. Throughout this particular episode, you can give us a call at 716-753-5225. If you have a question or comment, be nice. You know that we have a button that if you get nasty, zing, you're gone. So we want to always be civil here on the show. I won't tolerate anything else. If you have an announcement throughout the week and you can't call in because we're only here on Saturday mornings live, chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. Send it in, and as always, we got the announcements, and we will be happy to share that with you. Okay? Coming up later in the month, I'm very excited about this. We're going to be taping this today. After this show, we're going to be taping a Christmas special, and I mentioned it, I think, already earlier. But it's going to be a narrated Christmas story that I wrote probably 14 years ago. in retirement. I'm still retired after all these years. And it's a children's story. So it'll be aired December 23rd. And it's going to be kind of a family, a kid slanted show. So it's going to be for kids. And we've never done just like a children's show episode. So we're going to be filming this, and I'm looking forward to what it's going to look like when it's all done. Lots of fun. All right, I want to say, do a shout out to our friends over the Ukraine, Natalia and friends. Thanks for checking in with us. Hang in there as always. Our thoughts are still with all of you, even though there's lots of distractions going on in the world. We still are watching you guys and praying for the best for all of you. All right, we've got a number of things going on, and I think that I will start with this. Let's go to the theater next Saturday over in Westfield, just down the road. Let me get my glasses on because I don't trust these eyes anymore. It's going to be The Wonderful Life. It's a radio show, a radio play at the Lakeshore Center for the Arts. It was written by Joe Landry, and it's going to be December 9th, a Saturday. 2 shows, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. And as you can see, for those of you on the listening on the radio, you don't have the benefit of seeing me once anyways. On the Facebook page, they've got a couple pictures of me. It's going to be directed by Libby Cardi-Sherino and Kelly Matthews, and my friends John Daly, Diane Scarpine, Kelly Matthews, Joan Caruso, myself, Barb Johnson, Libby, and then we have a Foley artist. A lot of people don't know what a Foley artist is. It's someone that does all the sound effects. And then, of course, our tech person will be Judy Waite-Washington. This is the Jimmy Stewart radio version of It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, it's 7 people on stage doing a variety of voice characterizations. We did this way back in 2016, or for the first time, I think. And so we're going to bring it back, and we have half the cast is coming back, the original cast, and we are definitely looking forward to it and having fun in rehearsals already. So this time of year, there's a lot of holiday kinds of plays and shows, so we're going to be talking more about that here in a little bit. All right, let's go on to slide 16, Jeff. Connecting students and manufacturers. Dream It, Do It Advanced Manufacturing Program was launched. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Stakeholders, including manufacturers, students, and school district representatives, educators, community-based organization leaders, and elected officials gathered at Cummins today or the other day for the official launch of Dream It, Do It Advanced Manufacturing Program. Now, I'm not going to digress on this much, but if we don't have programs like this, we don't encourage kids to look into the technical fields that are out there, and that we want them to think about the trades, the technical areas, the vocational areas, the sciences, the manufacturing, because there are awesome jobs out there, and our area is primed and ready for that sort of thing, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that more with my guest here in a bit. So there's a quote. It says, "Today we are proud to announce the launch of Dream It, Do It Advanced Manufacturing Program," according to Chris Lansky, who's the chair of the Dream It, Do It Western New York. Since the startup of Dream It, Do It in 2009, we have facilitated 75,000 interactions with students, teachers, counselors, and school administrators. That work is a product of partnerships with our school districts and community-based organizations. Today, we are sharing the steps we are taking to take those important relationships to the next level to further strengthen connections between students and manufacturing. Okay, so without stretching it further, the Dream It, Do It is something that I have been very supportive of. I used to be an administrator for the Erie to Chautauqua Cattaraugus BOCES. I oversaw all kinds of vocational and technical programs, and we can't do enough to support this area because it's, fortunately, we've turned a corner to some degree, but many of these fields and these job offerings are almost drying up, and we really do need them. As I always say, when's the last time you could find a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, even the nursing field? We got nurses in our family. I mean, they're always looking for nurses, and on and on and on and on. And so we need to grow our own, and we need to support institutions like Dream It, Do It to keep kids in the pipeline. They're going to get the experience and the education to move into those areas. So enough said on that. Okay, let's go to 17. We got Priscilla to show at Reginald Center for the Arts. All right. When teenage Priscilla, and this is going to be shown December 6th, coming up this Wednesday at 7, Bo Lee meets Elvis Presley at a party. I'm not making this up. The man who is already a meteoric rock and roll superstar becomes someone entirely unexpected in private moments. This Priscilla, a thrilling crush, an ally in loneliness, a gentle best friend. Through Priscilla's eyes, Sofia Coppola tells the unseen side of a great American myth in Elvis and Priscilla's long courtship and turbulent marriage. From a German army base to his dream world estate at Graceland, where I've been there, in this deeply felt and ravishingly detailed portrait of love, fantasy, and fame. Priscilla is rated R, and it's 110 minutes long, and it was directed by Sofia Coppola. So check that out. Then, December 8th, Friday, 7:30 at the Reds, The Wizards of Winter. Its 11-member ensemble features former members of, man, I would love to play in this group, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Blue Oyster Cult member, Rainbow, and Broadway veterans. The Christmas Dream is a musical journey in the search of the meaning of Christmas, highlighted by rock and pop music and vocal harmonies evoking memories and emotions of December's past. Audience can expect stage theatrics, holiday fun, and a visit from Mrs. Claus. Tickets, $7 for movies, $6 for family films with an additional $1 and so forth. I don't have the price on the Wizards of Winter, but you need to give them a call at 484-7070 and go to the box office as well. So you want to check that out ahead of time. All right. I have an advisory from the Office for the Aging and Services. All right. Let's see here. They're making it easier for vulnerable communities to get their yearly vaccination. The county got a big grant to help people get vaccinated who might not think about getting it, might not know enough about it, might not have the where and means to do it. So there's a big push for people to get vaccinated this year. Disabled people and older adults have faced a disproportionate share of hardships during the COVID pandemic. In addition to significantly increased risk of serious illness and death from COVID-19, many faced barriers to accessing COVID-19 testing, treatment, and vaccinations. The aging and disability networks have played a pivotal role in helping older adults and people with disabilities overcome those barriers to get vaccinated. With that focused effort, most older adults and people with disabilities received the initial COVID-19 vaccine series, greatly reducing the most serious consequences of the disease, including hospitalization and death. However, far fewer people with disabilities and older adults have gotten the updated vaccine that both boosts immunity and better protects against disease caused by the Omicron variant of the virus. So what we're saying is there's part two to this, putting them at increasing risk, particularly as people gather indoors over the holidays right now and during the winter. These grants will begin to address the urgent and critical need for additional focus efforts to increase vaccination awareness and uptake among those high-risk populations. So, what's going on is there's a big push for folks to get their vaccinations. The Office for Aging Services is heading this project up. And if you want to learn more about how to get these vaccinations through the next several months, all right, here we go. Here's the number, 716-753-4876, or you can do what we have is the one stop, 753-4471. So there's different ones, but call anything but New York Connects, and they will get you the information that you need about the vaccinations here in Chautauqua County. And we're going to be talking about that every month, every week for the next 5 months or so, okay? So I've got my shots. I'm good. My doctor, he drilled me the other day. Did you get this? Did you get this? I go, yes. Here are the dates. So in my family, we get vaccinated, and we hope that you'll consider the same and keep yourself safe. All right, slide 18, Jamestown's Jingle and Mingle Fest. Wait a minute. That's today. The city of Jamestown will launch the holiday season with a Jingle and Mingle Festival from noon to 5. That's today, folks. Activities include live music in Tracy Plaza, showing of the movie The Santa Claus at the Reginald A. Center for the Arts, and more. The day will culminate with a Light the City Parade at 6 p.m. across 3rd Streets in downtown Jamestown, followed by fireworks and a display. A Christmas Story at the Lucille Ball Little Theater is going to be shown today and tomorrow and next week at various times. Let's see, it's 7:30 and 2. You got to check the times there, okay? And that's over on East 2nd Street. And then Christmas Through the Village is going on in Findlay Lake. That's going to be taking place today from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and tomorrow from 10 to 5 p.m. as well. Christmas Through the Village in Findlay Lake returns this weekend. Enjoy pictures with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, wagon rides, Christmas trees for sale, and special shops, specials in all the stores, okay? And then, of course, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago. If you are inclined to do a little travel up to Buffalo, they are having the German Kindle Market, which is Christmas market at the Hofbräu House over in downtown Buffalo. I'll get it right. And they're offering a really fun opportunity to do some shopping in European style markets. Let's go on to slide 19. All right, lots of things going on in Ripley, my hometown, and let's pop that up. Okay, you have, let's see, I get the lights here just right. Next weekend is a big weekend in Ripley. Okay, as you can see, there's going to be various offerings at various restaurants. Noah's Ark, which is a clothing store that sells clothes at a very, very, very low price, helps people keep warm each winter. You've got the library is going to have its vendor fair from 10 to 4. There's going to be a lighting of trees. There's going to be a chicken barbecue. Santa is coming into town. There's going to be visits at the fire department and so on. And over at the library, they also have something going on called the online auction. You go to the, what do they call it, the Bidding Owl auction site, you register, and they got all kinds of things you can bid on, and we've got a couple things, so just stay away from my items. If you see the DOC Doc, those are mine, don't touch them. No, I'm just kidding. The whole idea is to raise monies for the library. And then there's also a raffle going on. I believe that they have a ticket raffle for some type of a wood stove going on as well. So things are going on in Ripley, Findlay Lake, Jamestown, Dunkirk, all over the place. Speaking of Dunkirk, the Northern Chautauqua Young Professionals and the Fredonia Rotary Club are hosting the 3rd annual Jingle at the Rocks holiday event starting December 7, which would be next week, from 5 to 7 p.m. at 64 on the Rocks in Fredonia. The festive gathering will feature raffles, delicious appetizers, ugly sweater competition, music by DJ Gold, an opportunity to network with young professionals and others in the region. Admission's only $10 with a donation of a new unwrapped toy. Alternatively, you can opt for a $20 entry fee at the door without a toy donation. All proceeds from this event will benefit the Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program, which we talked about last week with Pat Smeraldo here. So please remember the Toys for Tots, and they've got a big collection going on throughout all of the county. So lots of things going on in Dunkirk. I think I'm at the end of my list. So we're going to take a little breather. So watch this, and we'll be right back.
Dear Santa, I hope you are having a good day in the North Pole. Is it cold all the time there? Is that why your cheeks are so rosy? I bet all of your reindeer are very excited.
All right, guys.
Is your beard long? My dad's is scratchy. My mom says I'm a good helper. But you didn't come last year. Was my chimney broken? Or did you forget? I do that sometimes. I just really hope this year when I wake up, I'm gonna see that you came to my house too.
Donate to Toys for Tots and help the Marines deliver hope to a child in need.
We have that program right here in Chautauqua County, and the number was staggering. Thousands of presents go out every year, and good on all those guys that work together for the county to make it a good place to live here in Chautauqua County. I was musing with my guest that I was on my phone. I had a number come up with spam, and I said, I will bet, and most of you that are watching right now will know what I'm talking about. I've had 53 spam calls, and it says, hi, this is Leslie, or gee, this is Jim, and they want to sell you insurance. I can't wait for December, whatever it is, to come and go, so we stopped getting all those commercials on TV and on my phone. I digress. BJ Wendel's my guest today. BJ, welcome back. It's been a while.
It has, but thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. And you know, you're a busy guy. It took us like 2 or 3 times through your office to get you here, and I'm really glad you are. You know, I was reading that bit from the Office for the Aging about the vaccines, and I think that's probably the first time we ever met. You came in here, you were really quiet, very serious, and like, who's this long-haired guy, and what's he going to talk to me about? And we worked really hard together with, Chautauqua Strong and Healthy and all that, and did some good work together with public service announcements and that. So it's been a good working relationship.
It has. I'm really excited about being here, but you're right. The relationship has been incredible, and who would have thought, that would have been my launch.
You had this deer to the headlights look when you walked. You go like, what have I got myself into? Holy cow.
We came and I remember that one of the first events was in early January.
Yeah.
Fredonia was nominated for Small Business Revolution.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
And unfortunately, what would have been a really explosive way to enter the stage was short-lived by COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, it happened in January, and we talked. In fact, George Borrello and I were in Albany at a conference, and we kind of did a live video from there when they were announcing. We were watching on television in a video. So it's a great thing, but then 2 months later, the world stops.
Yeah.
It was a great relationship we've had ever since.
Yeah.
I think the uniqueness of our previous lives of education and administration. So
it's good.
It's
been fun, yeah. And you, for whatever reason, have agreed to put me on a couple of your county advisory boards, and I thank you for that. I hope I've been able to add a little bit of perspective to them. So it's been interesting. Okay. So you have now been county executive how long? I've lost track.
4 years.
4
years.
Really?
Yeah.
4 years. So the first round you were appointed.
Yep.
And that was because George went on to become state senator, right?
Yep.
And then you won the election on your own, and here you are.
Yep.
One of the things that I like to do with elected officials is to come back from the beginning and just say, what y'all do for a living? County executive to me is this nebulous thing. People ask me that, especially people from cities, because they're used to a mayor or they're used to a town supervisor. But I think they don't understand county government because they don't see it.
Right. The way I look at it is, if you don't know county government, you don't see county government, we must be doing something right. That you're not, we're not in your face, we're not, doing everything. But I tell people this. I love sharing the story. As county executive, there are only 17 of us throughout New York State.
Really?
So when I go into a government class, I talk to the kids and I say, well, let's do some trivia. How many counties are there in New York State?
There's 51?
57. Then the 5 boroughs of New York City bring it to 62.
Okay.
There are 18 county executives. I digress. There are 18. And one of them includes the mayor of the city of New York. So when we discuss, in fact, I was in New York City with a leadership group from NYSAC, meeting with Mayor Adams, as close as you and I are sitting having dinner. We spoke, and our executive director of NYSAC was like, county executive, and he paused. He said, "You are a county executive." I like to tell people as well as New York State, we're consistently inconsistent. 62 counties, 57 designated counties, excluding New York. The 5 boroughs, and there are 3 different forms of government. There is a charter form, which we have here in Chautauqua County, which has an elected executive. Then there are counties that have a legislature, as Cattaraugus County. Then there are others who have a board of supervisors, which is what Chautauqua County
Well,
was.
that's what I was saying. That long time ago. That's
prior,
right.
yeah, prior to 1975. So, again, I kind of use that tongue in cheek because New York is a large state, but very diverse, even with our forms of government. So everybody assumes that every county has an executive, but uniquely we don't. And we are. I am the CEO of a $294 million corporation with nearly 1,300 employees, both full and part-time. 27 different departments that I'm in charge of when we, create our budget. And it's a variety of things. And I think the job is really what you want to make of it. Everybody has a different philosophy. And, when I first became a legislator, Greg Edwards was our county executive,
Right.
and Greg was an attorney prior. And, Greg was used to being in an office. Then came Vince Horrigan, who was an Air Force commander.
Right.
Understood the office piece, but was out, in public. George Borrella came in, and George was on the road a lot as a salesman. So I think George's function, he was always on the go. And again, not discrediting, George. He was
Different
an amazing, different style. But I think his philosophy more was, if I'm in an office, I might not be working, because it's just how your past came. When I came in, if I wasn't in a school building by 7:30 in the morning, I didn't feel I was working.
Right.
So getting into the office, when I first started, was 7:30, 8 o'clock, and the staff's like, "You're here way too early." And the job does go until, sometimes, it could be 10, 11 o'clock at night with different meetings or banquets or engagements. So it's a lot. My family understands this. My daughter's recently very proud graduate of Florida State University. She was an exchange student when I took office. So imagine being half of the world away in the Czech Republic, and COVID pandemic hit. So a lot of dialogue back and forth. What are they doing over there? She was a good sounding board, giving me some information. And we did make some decisions based on what was already happening in Europe.
Right.
And believe it or not, a little bit ahead of the curve. We talked about masking, ironically, just as the mandates started to come out. But it was something we had looked at, in discussion with what things are happening elsewhere. My son is a senior now. He was in, freshman in high school, or 8th grade when it started. So, and my wife, they all know that, where I'm at, and, it's a busy day. Today, in particular, here this morning, I'm going to go watch my son wrestle this afternoon back in Jamestown for the holiday parade. So, it is what it is. They might say no rest for the wicked, but I think just the other way. It's really it's a great experience. I've been fortunate enough. I've been appointed to 3 boards. One of them is NYMER, the New York State Municipal Insurance Reciprocal. So 30 years ago, a group of people got together and created a municipal insurance corporation for municipalities throughout New York State, counties.
Teachers have the same thing
Yep,
locally.
exactly.
Yeah, we're
So,
in it, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm on their board of governors,
nice.
which is a recognition of my involvement. I was just recently elected to a 6-year term to NYSAC, which is the New York State Association of Counties. Really honored for that. I don't like to be part of something and sit back. And the next was I'm a member of County Executives of America on their board of directors.
Wow.
That group originally was in Alexandria, Virginia, just across the Potomac. Now we're in Washington, D.C. Dan McCoy, County Executive of Albany County, is the president of County Executives of America as well. So really excited, over 700 members strong, and we're bringing that group back to life. There was a hiatus, through some, way too long to get into, but nonetheless, people are looking this and going forward. So in other counties outside, they're mayors or judges, even though it's a county executive. But for here, it's a county executive, and it's a very time-consuming job. But I think what people forget, we are a $290 million corporation,
Yeah.
and it's this. I'm the CEO of many moving parts. And one of the things I focused on is efficiency, effectiveness, and also limiting the county's liability. I think that's really important as we go forward.
When I was a superintendent of schools, I said my number one job is to keep this district out of a litigation. And they used to look at me. I said, tomorrow you could have a $4 million lawsuit. Tomorrow you could have a $10 million. If we mess up, if we don't have policies in place, we don't have procedures in place, we don't do due diligence for whatever, and you're doing the same thing, it sounds like.
Exactly. There's a lot of things going on. You're looking at, again, $290 million this year. $270 or $80 million last year. It's a big budget. And with that many different departments, that many moving pieces, you really have to watch. Because now, I have people that work with, our most vulnerable populations, whether it's the elderly, young children, impoverished individuals, people with mental illness. I've also got, people out on roads crew. We're around some heavy machinery that, God forbid, you're hit by a vehicle, struck. We have people on road crews. We're out plowing streets. We're doing so many things. Our health department is out in some, real unique situations. So it was interesting. I was talking to another member of my cabinet, and, people say, well, what have you been doing? And she goes, or you're not doing enough. You're not doing anything. She goes, you're running a massive corporation. It's interesting, On the outside, people don't know. And I think the way I've told people is we're, I wouldn't say a swan, we'll go more with a duck. Maybe look pretty calm above water, but underneath we're moving pretty fast. And that's really what's happening. I've got a great group of people I brought in, some very trusted individuals. Externally, I have a really close individual I refer to as my consigliere, really guides me in a lot of what I do, in making decisions and making sure we're doing the right things. I've learned walk instead of run. We're doing things.
It's hard not to.
It is. Oh, when you get something or something happens, you're like, let's get down. I'm
slow down.
Exactly. And the same person I refer to. I've been in the volunteer fire service for 35 years now.
All right.
And it was unique. So, a little bit. But this person said, you're not a fireman all the time. And by that they mean, when I'm going to a house fire, I can, go in, be aggressive. The more aggressive I am, the more successful we are, my partner, my team. And very proud my son joined the fire department with me. So we do some, firefighting together. But, in this job, you have to take your time.
You can solve a problem with the wrong solution.
Exactly. And,
what have I done?
Yeah, and you think you're doing the right thing. And at that snapshot in time, maybe, but you're also looking at the marathon, not the sprint. So it's been a challenge.
Some leaders think they can solve the problem by themselves, and they do it, and then they mess it all up. And I'm going to concur with you. Very often I would call my cabinet together and say, okay, here's the issue. What am I missing? Let's talk this through. And we came up with solutions I never even thought of.
Yeah, and that's really what happened with COVID. I was very humbled. I'll never forget that first COVID meeting, 25 people in a room. And then the next day again, 25 more people. And we said, wait a minute, we're trying to limit exposure. We're shutting things down. We're not leading by example if we have 25 of us together. So we broke off into some subgroups. And really the core 7 of us, the sheriff, director of emergency services, we had 3 physicians, Dr. Burke, Dr. Walters, and Dr. Falk. And then, of course, Christine Schuyler, public health director, and myself. So everything we did was a group decision. Never really had to take a vote. We all agreed. And I think the interesting piece of this job is you have to know what you don't know. And you have to admit that I don't know what that is and who's. And I'll tell my group, I go, you're the experts, not me.
There you go.
Tell me what we're doing. What's your what's your guidance, what's your advice, and then we make those decisions together.
Super.
And I like it a lot of what I did. People ask me, when I travel to Buffalo, friends that I've known for wrestling, I coached for 30 years.
Oh, wrestlers all know you. I know. I know
so,
a lot of wrestlers. PJ's now the county executive. I was, PJ?
Friends of mine, they wake up to like, there's your face at 7 o'clock. Who would have thought? But, that understanding of, and the sport of wrestling a lot I mirror a lot of it to what I do because I've got a great group of people I work with, I train with, I help solve problems. But at the end of the day, my name's at the top of the letterhead. If there's a mistake, I'm the one who, even though my staff does, I wear this on my shoulders quite a lot and on my sleeve that when people say the county, that's me. I take it very personally. So, but, it's like I said, I can't say enough about the job. I love it. There isn't a day that I don't. Some days better than others.
Of course.
You take the good with the bad.
One of the things that I do like about your administration, and I know this might seem like a simple thing, but every Monday morning I get an email from you. Every Monday morning. It's called the Monday Morning Memo, I think it is, right? And I think your predecessor started that, didn't he?
George or Vince? I'm not
sure. Somebody started that because I would get the smiley face every Monday morning. So I would encourage those that are listening right now, if you don't get the Monday Morning Memo, from PJ, sign up for it. I don't know how you do it, but
You go to our webpage, chqgov.com, and you go to the county executive page. There's a link you could
Sign up for it.
Yeah, it's we tried to change the name a little bit during COVID. The Monday morning memo was hard to get out, and now Justin Gould, our media information officer, is in charge of that, and depending on what he's doing, so we were like more referred to the Monday memo, just because it may not get out in the morning. Things happen. But Justin's pretty diligent. He works on it Friday afternoon, and a lot of times I'll approve it Friday, and then or first thing on the office Monday, or send me it. So technology's great. We can convene.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a great tool for people to know what we're doing in county government.
And the reason why I say that, because I draw upon it for some of the events that I announce here, because I don't always know what's going on in Dunkirk, but because here in Mayville, I can shoot that out through all kinds of avenues. Jamestown can hear about what's going on. People in Dunkirk can hear about what's going on in Jamestown. So when I see all this stuff, I gather all this information, and a lot of times some of it comes from your email.
That's great.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw something at you and just see if you agree with this or not, and it's okay. I have known and interviewed almost 6 different county executives, 4 for sure, 2 I've known and probably interviewed informally, not necessarily here, but definitely 4 here at Chautauqua Sunrise. I get the sense that county government is now focusing on issues and not politics.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. 100%. How's that?
And it's interesting, and a wise legislator uses this phrase. They think that we think the way they think. The idea was, the legislature was this combative arena, but some would say, well, because there's a supermajority, you've got a different philosophy. I don't. I was there when the legislature was a one-person majority. We did get things done. We did work across the aisles, and as I came in as a legislator and now as county executive, there hasn't been any political discussion. As of late, maybe there have been, more political party line votes. But at the end of the day, when we decide on actions with the county, it's, joint, it's collaborative. And we do things, for the betterment of the county. And as you said, we focus on the issues, not what's going on behind the scenes. We look at, my position internally is efficient, effective county government. How can we create efficiencies, make things county government more effective? But there are a lot of things happening in the world and in the state that do impact us. I'm part of the NISAC board, so my voice and the county's voice is heard throughout the state. But we don't bring those things back. There's a lot that we're dealing with. The senator and the assemblyman, George and Andy and myself, work tirelessly. We work with our Congressman, Nick Langworthy, and there are some big things happening, but that's not what we bring. We work on, what's happening in Chautauqua County. What can we do to make the lives of our residents better, the county a better place to live, work, start a business? So I think that's important. But you're right. We have, and it's my goal to continue to focus on the issues, have goals, and not get drugged down by the political rhetoric that's going on.
Okay, so, I follow things sort of, not that close, but enough from maybe 30,000, 15,000 feet above you all and watch it all. But that's been my sense, and I kind of like that a lot, because I feel like, before I would hear a lot of this bang and and we're going to get even with you from last year and that sort of thing. So just to roll the tape back a little bit, you're the CEO of this very large corporation. You're elected, but there's some other people that are elected that you've got to deal with. So let me just go through it. You got the sheriff, you got the county clerk, and then you have judges, and the county and the legislature. So how does that all work when you're a county executive? I mean, it kind of mirrors Congress, I suppose, and the president or the governor in some respects. But how much power do you really have?
Well, it depends. Some people tell you I don't have any. Others will. There is a great deal of power with the position of county executive. I had to take classes on declaring a state of emergency. What actually that entails? Yeah,
there's school for county executives.
A little bit, yeah. It's one of these mandated schools that we all go every year.
Continuing ed kind of a thing.
Yeah, we feel bad for the trainers. They're clearly from the Office of Emergency Services in the state, and It's really boots on the ground type of hands-on people, and there are some attorneys that come in and speak with us. But we all have our own county attorneys, well-versed. I can't say enough about my former attorney was Steve Wendel, and now Patrick Slago. Amazing guys, and a staff of people that work tirelessly. But there is a lot we can do. But there's a lot we can't do. Obviously, the clerk has their role, and there are decisions that the clerk makes, involving like the weights and measures, the DMVs, those things. I don't interfere with that. That's all the clerk. He was elected to do that. He represents, the county.
And that's all set up by the charter that you refer to?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's sort of like the law of the land, if you
Correct.
will, for
Yep.
here in Chautauqua County.
Correct. And the sheriff. I've known Sheriff Quattrone since I moved here in 1977, and graduated from Southwestern. Although, albeit a little bit older than I am, but we have a great relationship. We've known each other for throughout that course of time. And again, I refer to him with everything. He's a great person. I can't say enough about him. A very faith-based individual. A lot of creative ideas that coming into the jail. We start a new program called Ignite. Which is working on educating incarcerated individuals. We're the only county in New York State that's started this program. We're one of 9 counties across the country that are doing it.
Good.
The sheriff of Mecklenburg County, Sheriff McFadden came up. We will say is the sharpest dressing sheriff in the country, but a great guy. My brother lives in Charlotte, so we had a great conversation about some places. But all those individuals, we work well. I respect their positions. People will come to us or call the office. You need to do this, and no, that's the sheriff, or that's pretty definitive. But that's the role of the clerk, or that's the district attorney. I can't tell the district attorney or the judges what to do. So we all work together. Again, a great relationship with all the electeds, and I think that respect for one another and our positions is what's really been successful in the county. We're going to continue that legacy going forward. Again, when I first came in, Patrick Swanson, was a Democrat. Again, but does it really hold weight when you're the district attorney?
So you do the job.
You don't prosecute somebody based on your political affiliation. So Jason's done a tremendous job. But, there's changes there. And what I do is try to work with the district attorney if there are any issues at the state level. Excuse me, being on the board of NISAC, we do have a voice in state government. We do have a voice in working with the senator and assemblyman, being as close as we are. I take great pride in the fact that they, through NISAC and Steve Aquario, the executive director, will always refer executives, if you can talk to your assemblyman, if you could talk to me. I got him on speed dial. We talked all the time. We're constant. In fact, I'll be with the senator tonight at the parade.
I'm not even in your role, and all I ever do is call them up and say, "This is Doc." They don't say Doc who.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so and that's the thing that people may or may not realize. I know when I used to talk to my mom, she used to say, "Well, you know these people." I said, "We're not that big of a county. Everybody knows everybody, and you can develop relationships, right?"
You can, definitely. And what was interesting was, about a week or so ago, I came home and my son, told me, well, the light bulb's burned out in the truck. Okay, so I had to go replace the light bulb. So I walked into auto parts store at night and made a comment. I guess I bought the wrong ones. He goes, well, you can't put this on the county account? I'm like, no, it's my personal vehicle. And I'm out there, he goes, you do that by yourself? I'm like, I can change the light bulb in my car.
Really?
Yeah, then I went over and I was getting gas and somebody goes, they said my name. I'm like, because it was a younger person, so that I have him as a student or whatever. They're like, no, you're the county executive. I'm like, yeah, you pump your own gas.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I also eat with a fork.
Yeah, I do my own laundry. I said, if you want, I tell people, outside of office hours, Wegmans between 9 and 11 a.m. on Wednesday, Sunday mornings, you'll find me there. There's several of us.
Yeah.
There was a small group. It used to be myself and Kim Eklund, now mayor-elect.
Right.
Arden Johnson, the longtime supervisor in Ellery. And we'd always walk around, and I take a car. My wife takes a car because that's just how it is. She knows I stop and talk to people. And I will say, knock on wood, that I've never had a negative experience. People ask me questions, or people will, recognize me and make comments, and everything has always been positive. I've been out where, it's been unique. They see me somewhere, and I haven't had a very, one time out, I never forget, somebody was very confrontational. I looked over and kind of said, I see why some people might have security details. I never felt that way, but I could see where, and there's some, there's some sort of disdain with government in general.
Oh,
and I think
definitely,
that's,
yeah.
what you see at the federal level, what you see at the state trickles on down. I try to pride myself on doing what the county's business is. Yes, I'm well versed in what's happening in New York State. A lot of it all impacts Chautauqua County. But that's in Albany. That's George and Andy. They're the ones dealing with that.
You guys take care of that. Yeah.
Exactly. We focus on, and the reason I say, we have to work with them is because they will inform you how decisions made in Albany do affect Chautauqua County. And, but again, the elected officials that I work with are phenomenal people, great respect for one another, and a great team effort. Last week, like you said, last Wednesday, which started out at about 2 p.m. as a questionable incident at the Canadian border at the Rainbow Bridge.
Right, yeah.
First thing I picked up with our emergency services director goes, "Have you heard what's going on?" And he's getting some information. Reached out to the sheriff. What do we have going on? Are we assisting? And he said, yeah, our bomb team's up on the way up there already. We have our dogs are actually bomb sniffing dogs as well. So luckily, it was a potentially escalated situation that de-escalated quickly. Yeah. But those working relationships, and not only there, but regionally. Great relationship with Brent Davis, the county executive in Erie County. Mark Poloncarz in Erie County, New York. Again, good working relationship there as well. So, and county executives across New York State. And being on those boards, it gets our voice out into Chautauqua, throughout New York State and the country. But it allows the county to network and bring things back to the county that'll benefit our residents.
I think that's really important that you say that, because a lot of times people, whatever the position is, say, oh, they're out of the office again. Well, where are they? Well, they're here. But you are bringing back germinations of seeds, of ideas, bouncing things off of your colleagues, and you can come back with some pretty good stuff. And people don't get it. They think you should be sitting right there in that office doing whatever they think you should be doing. And it's like, well, when you sit in my chair, you do it the way you want to do it.
Right, and I agree with people. I think there's legitimacy to that, because there are times where you see things have gone awry, and you hear of different things where people are out. But for myself, I always cognizant of how I represent the county, and always trying to bring something back. I don't go to a meeting, or in fact I'm leaving Wednesday morning. I'm out at the crack of dawn. I need to be in Albany by noon. And hopefully the state troopers along 86 and 88 recognize my vehicle. But now, I travel that route a lot now. Not as much as George and Annie, but I am in Albany, different occasions, quite a bit. But again, it's NYSAC, and there are some significant things that are happening at the state level that we have weighed in on. And it also brings back being a member of NYSAC and having a close relationship with our executive director, Steve Aquario. Chautauqua County has had a very rich, robust history recently in our financial stability. Kitty Crow joined a group called 3+1, Joe Rolson, and we are the benchmark for municipalities nationwide.
Nice.
What we do, their award, they thought if somebody reached 95%, that would be incredible. Well, we exceeded 95%. We had 100%. So they had to rewrite their rules.
Make it tougher.
Exactly. We got another award just 2 or 3 weeks ago, again, from 3+1.
Well done.
And Cash Fest. So that's Kitty Crow. She does a great job.
Kitty. Yeah.
Now, the connection with NYSAC and my affiliation with that group we are one of the primary founders and on the board of the municipal trust. So much like the municipal insurance reciprocal, we now have a trust that allows towns, villages, counties, school districts looking to possibly get into fire districts or other agencies, where using cash on hand to invest and get a higher yield return. For example, the fourth quarter of last year, we used our ARPA funding, which is the cash. We put it into this municipal trust, and we brought in $250,000 in a quarter. So that's $250,000 more. In that first tranche, we put right back into our ARPA funding. This year, we've done the same thing with that ARPA funding, and we're going to bring, not sure exactly the numbers, but it'll be over $850,000.
All right, so what you're saying is you all pooled your money as a group, and then you invested it, and you made more money with the money that you got from the government to begin with.
Exactly.
And so you just kind of keep this thing going now?
Keep it going, yep. That's the plan. And obviously with the ARPA funds, as they start to wind down and spend down, there'll be less, but it still gives us that opportunity to take the cash on hand, invest
Smart.
it, and get so we're putting nearly $1 million into this year's budget from that investment. So, it's one of those things that people don't know that's happening.
Yeah.
But that's because of my affiliation with NYSAC, because of being on the board and having that relationship. One, Kitty's knowledge of finance and our respect nationwide with 3+1.
Nice.
So it's really some good things and exciting.
So how frustrating is it dealing with the state these days?
That's an
And, you know,
understatement.
and people always will name the governor in the past, and I'm not picking on any particular governor because all the governors that got picked on, or who pushes some of these agendas? I mean, is it downstate?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. And again, I'm not, criticism has been out there. Well, the county government blames New York State. It's not blaming New York State. I'm a very open person. When you're looking this year, I think we quit counting state mandates or increases to state mandates at like $60 million. It's Cattaraugus County, $7 million of unfunded mandates. Well, we stopped counting at somewhere between 15 or 16 million. But when you look at those things that the state is doing, you have to speak out. If you're not speaking out, you're not doing your job. I think a piece of information that's out there right now, and Senator Skoufis out in the center part of the state in Orange County, Senator is pushing this even year voting bill, which originally started out as, it would decrease the money needed for elections. Well, that wasn't true either. And then now it's going to be to get more voter turnout. Well, it's not going to increase voter turnout. You're just moving an election where more people will vote anyway. And so arguments can be said, but it was not supported by either side of the election commissioners, but they're still trying to push it through. The unique piece of this is our voice in opposition, county executives united bipartisanly across the state. The governor hasn't signed it yet. And that came out in June of last year. She has until the end of the year to sign it. So there's a lot of pressure for her to sign it. We've said, the unique piece about that is it was passed by downstate legislators, and the votes that it took to pass came from the city of New York. But guess who's exempt from this rule? The city of New York. So yes, a lot of what's happening is driven by downstate ideology, but it's reflected up here that it really, Andy and George will tell you, bring a senator or an assemblyman from New York City, and they have no idea this is still part of New York.
It was with school systems,
Oh, yeah.
I always tell the story when I was just school superintendent at Ripley, like 2 weeks into it, and I got a phone call, and my secretary says, it's the commissioner's office. I go, no, stop. I said, why would the commissioner be calling me? And I just kept on going. She goes, no, the commissioner needs to talk to you. And I go, what? So it was his secretary. And I said, this is Dr. Hamels, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, the commissioner wants you to come over for a meeting. I go, when? And this was like a Wednesday. She goes, day after tomorrow. And I said, do you know where I live? She goes, well, neither here nor there. I mean, you're invited to come. I said, well, please tell the commissioner thank you, but I won't be there. Yeah. I mean, it's like, they don't get it. We're like 5.5 hours away, if I remember right, from my house to Albany door. Yes. And, and that's moving along.
From my office, I'm 2 miles closer to the state capital of Ohio than I am to Albany. So people forget. We did an online press conference during COVID, and it was Steve Ballone from Suffolk County and myself, and Steve Aquario's, texting me. He goes, there are 532 miles between you and Steve, and you're still in the same state. That's people forget. We are a massive, massive state. But and the dynamics, they have one town. The town of Hempstead has 800,000 residents plus.
Holy cow.
That's nearly the entire population of Erie County. Right. And it's one town in Suffolk County.
That's like 7 Chautauqua counties.
Exactly, easily. So people don't get, and again, those administrators I have a great relationship with. Steve Ballone, now the new executive coming in, and we have all of us work well together. But the interesting piece is, people don't get it. But downstate really drives a lot of this, and that's what's unfortunate. They really don't take their time to get up here. And that's really what they need to do and I'm not talking just Chautauqua County, the westernmost outpost, but you need to get up into Warren County and Essex County and places in the north that really, take all of these things into consideration. And it's huge.
Okay, we got a phone call. Good morning, caller.
Doc, and good morning, our county executive. This is Linda
Spalding.
Hi, Lynn.
It's great to have our county executive on your show.
Thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
a question. You were talking about the state, New York State. I wanted to know, will it ever come to pass that we will be forced to get gas stoves? Not gas stoves, get rid of our gas stoves and get electric stoves?
Well, let me tell you. To be honest with you, Linda, thank you for the question. Thank you for your compliment. It's something I'm very adamant about. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the speaker.
That's
I'm
all right.
trying to look at Linda if I'm looking right at you.
I understand.
No. I mean, that is something I fought. And here's what. I'll give you a little story, Linda. So we went to Cummins Engine. They built their 2.5 millionth engine in Jamestown, New York, milestone. But they want to create a gas engine. And what people don't realize is Fredonia, New York, is the birthplace of natural gas.
Absolutely.
The very first gas well was
Yep.
discovered in Fredonia. So I tell people, it would behoove me not to fight for natural gas continuation here in Chautauqua County. We're the birthplace of natural gas. So to your point, Linda, I would fight vigorously to keep that out. What they're doing is they're looking at a study that took place in recently, and I think it may be a Harvard study, but it said natural gas stoves have caused an increase in asthma. Well, I can tell you what, growing up, I would go to Wilkes-Barre in Swarsville, Pennsylvania, a very small village, and I would smell my grandmother's gas stove with a pilot light, and we knew she had a gas stove when you walked in the house. I don't have an increase of asthma or respiratory illness or anything like that. But the study said, well, gas stoves increases. Well, did they look at pet dander? Did they look at stuffed animals? Did they look at the chemicals in your carpeting?
Mold,
All of these things. Right,
dust,
mold.
yeah.
So to your point, Linda, I will continue to fight to prevent that from happening. But I have publicly said this. There's a term called economic seepage. And because we border Pennsylvania on two sides, we seep our economy out of New York State. But that is an economic seepage I will engage, and I'll go across the state line, get a gas stove, and bring it back to New York. It is just ridiculous that, the government can come back and say, you in rural New York, where you have an abundance of natural gas, you're going to conform with everything else, individuals in New York City. And to the point, we are now going to tax an infrastructure we know does not have enough capability to handle all the electric needs. So to your question, I will continue to fight for that. I will continue to push back on, there is a climate change in this country, in this world. I do recognize that. But I don't think it's going to be solved by telling New Yorkers you can't have a natural gas stove in your house.
Well, thank you very much for doing that. And I'd like to add that gas stoves are far more efficient.
We have that at our house. I
Exa-
love
oh, yeah.
gas.
I tell you,
Yeah.
exactly. I was at my daughter's over the weekend down and she lives just outside of Washington, and she has a gas or an electric stove, and I have a hard time cooking with
I can't do it.
Yeah, you shut it off, but things are still cooking because there's still radiant heat. So you're 100% correct, Linda. If we're looking at things happening in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you're right. These gas stoves are much more efficient. They're much cleaner. And even now, gas burning vehicles. The technology of natural gas in vehicles, especially in over-the-road trucks, started 20 years ago when I just got out of college, and 30 years now, and worked at Cummins on their assembly line. Gas-powered vehicles were a place back then. People don't realize, in the 80s, the Sheriff Bentley had the sheriff's patrol cars powered by liquid propane, LP gas.
Hey, Lynn, I need to cut in. We're down to our last minute, so thanks for calling in.
Okay, have a great weekend.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Well, that was a great
Bye-bye.
question, so
Yeah.
I'm glad she asked that one. I've often wondered. PJ Wendel, the county executive, my guest today, I'm going to let you finish off whatever you want to tell folks about your position or government or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you, we've got a lot of great things happening in Chautauqua County. We have a rebirth, if you will. We have the final tally I'll be looking at, but we're getting close to, if we haven't already exceeded, $1 billion of investment in industry here in Chautauqua County.
Beautiful.
Cummins Engine has put in a large project. Wells Ice Cream in the North County, Refresco in the North County as well. These are nationally recognized corporations. Refresco does bottling for many different labels, private labels across the country. Cummins Engine, obviously the premier over-the-road trucking engine of choice. And then you have, obviously, Wells. We have an investment, SKF. They are having a little bit of a stutter right now as far as getting goods. The supply chain is challenging for them, but people will fixate on the negative, and that's always going to be there. I refuse to do that. The glass is always half full, and really maybe 3/4 full if I see things. So, we're going to continue pushing those agendas. We're going to continue to make improvements. Effective, efficient county government is what I
Excellent.
love.
Well, thanks for taking time from your very busy schedule, especially this time of year. Good luck to your son up in Buffalo in the
Thank you.
wrestling match.
Thank
What
you. Yep.
weight class is he?
145 and 152, so
Okay.
we'll see what the day brings us. We
All right,
never
well,
know.
watching the papers. Folks, my guest today has been the Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendel, and we've had a great chat. Get his Monday morning memo if you want out on emails, and have a great weekend and get out there and shop locally and support your local shops. Okay? We're going to do this again next Saturday morning right here on Access Chautauqua Spectrum 1301. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye now.